I've always admired the designs of weapons and armor in this game and wondered what would they look like in real life. Well, in this video I'm going to attempt to make one unique looking weapon from Sunwell Plateau called Dragonscale-Encrusted Longblade. These are the original models from the game which I'll be making. I think there are one or two additional variations with better colors, but it seems that those are only available for NPCs, and I wasn't able to find them apart from some low quality images. Starting off, I modeled a 3D high resolution version in Blender, following the original 3D model as closely as I could. I only used basic colors to help me visualize the final look. I settled on the length of 78 cm because I wanted it to be a life-size replica, but not too over or undersized, so that it would still be wieldable in one hand. Even though I made different kinds of projects from wood before, using woodworking power tools is not my strongest side. So all this cutting and planing here is done by my brother, who is much more experienced at using these tools. And you will see more from him and his projects on this channel in the future. One machine that I can use really well is a CNC machine, which I have been using for years. But this particular project was actually something that I have never made before. It is very important for the wood to be firmly attached, because CNC is a powerful machine and you definitely do not want the piece to come loose while it's cutting. So I really made sure those screws went deep into the spoil board. There are two main operations when making 3D carving on CNC. First one being roughing, where CNC makes a rough shape so that the second stage will have less work. After that comes finishing stage, and for that is this tapered ball nose bit for finer details. Few hours later, after finishing, I flipped the board and placed it in the exact place where it needs to sit using wooden pins. And after that, it was time to repeat this process once again. You might think that the CNC does all of the work, and you would be correct, but there is still a lot of work to be done until it looks anything like the original. Sanding is something that almost no one enjoys, including me, but it is definitely a necessary step. Thankfully, this project didn't require much hand sanding, so I used Dremel tool, which made this step much more manageable. This oak wood had a couple of deep natural cracks, one of which unfortunately ended up in a not so desirable spot, so I had to fill them up with epoxy. I also had to make these silicone dams to prevent spillage. It all added some extra work to the piece, but I think those cracks will make it more interesting because it might look like restored battle damage. Here I'm using epoxy again for different colored gemstones. Smaller ones will be placed on the sides and one large on the spine of the blade. I made these forms from flexible filament using my 3D printer. I coated them with wax and silicone spray for easy removal of the epoxy. Me, my brothers, and my cousins played World of Warcraft for many years, so it wasn't difficult to choose which project to do. But what was difficult was choosing from such a large variety of cool weapons that this game offers. In the future, we plan to make more interesting looking weapons and other items, not only from WoW, but also other video games. These gems had visible layer lines from the form, which required a little bit of sanding. Since oak is harder than maple, that meant the softer wood will absorb in more color than oak. Before that, I experimented on some scrap wood to see how each type of wood looks like with all colors that I have, and to get more comfortable with painting. But I was still a little nervous not to mess up because it wouldn't be easy to remove mistakes. I tried my best to match these colors as closely to the original, and right now they might look a little flat, but that will soon change. Finally, the finishing stage, which is the most exciting part, where everything in the piece comes to life. And with all of that done, I let it cure for a couple of days, and now it is time to see how this blade turned out.